Hundreds of boxes holding cremated remains of lost loved ones are in a warehouse at the U.S. Postal Service.
Some of them have been sitting there undelivered for years, and family members can't get answers to the question, is there a loved one among them?
The Postal Service wouldn't respond to our request for an interview, and it said it would keep the cremated remains indefinitely.
It's not, like a lost Christmas letter to Santa. It's time to get her back, get her home.
Investigative reporter Kristin Crowley discovered the issue after a congressional audit found 452 undeliverable cremated remains. Yet no one had done anything to reunite them with loved ones.
She brings us new details on what legal rights those desperately searching for answers may have.
I never expected something like this to happen.
The death of Amy Redford's mom wasn't easy. She passed away while the two were estranged. But that hasn't been the hardest part.
It kills me to know that I cannot place her somewhere where I know she deserves to be.
Her mother's ashes are missing. Back in 2020, Amy shipped the ashes in the mail from Louisville, Kentucky to her sister in Florida, where she planned to bury her mother. But Amy mistakenly put the wrong address on the box, and the woman who accidentally received the ashes,
She left the package outside the door, and from there she doesn't know what happens to it.
for years, Amy has feared the worst, that the ashes ended up in the trash. That was until she learned the post office has 452 unclaimed cremated remains. The post office says they're undeliverable because of incorrect packaging or missing labels. All of them are in its mail recovery center in Atlanta.
Do you think it's possible your mother could be in that facility?
Honestly, yeah, I do.
But Amy can't get the answer to that, because the post office says it will not let anyone from the public access the secure facility, and says it will hold those undelivered packages indefinitely. A response that leaves Amy frustrated, and she's not the only one.
Do you believe that your mom is there?
I think so.
Sarah Jelinek in Washington State.
I wasn't even thinking that was even a possibility, that she could have gotten lost.
Michaela Eckler in South Carolina.
It's disgusting, quite honestly.
And Daniel Smith in Indiana have all waited years for answers about what happened to their loved ones' cremated remains. All of them shipped the ashes through the United States Postal Service because, by law, the Postal Service is the only courier that can deliver them.
Here she is.
In our initial investigation, we shared their stories.
She meant everything to me.
Stories that Robert Greeneisen couldn't get out of his head.
The way that I understood your first article to indicate that post office was just going to leave in there forever. I feel that fault.
Greeneisen is a funeral director in Ohio. After seeing our report, he offered to help, saying he was willing to go through every box to find where the ashes belong.
There's identifiers inside. We have urns that they have markings on. They have name tags on. They've been engraved in some manner.
Those urns could be inside those cremated remains packages.
Yes.
So we contacted the Postal Service with Greeneisen's offer. Its response: the Postal Service appreciates the outside interest, but will have to respectfully decline the request. The post office would not comment whether it found any other forms of identification in the boxes. Amy, who says her mother's death certificate is in that box, says it's a punch to the gut.
It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's not like I lost a rug. It's not like I've mailed some of my jewelry to somebody and it disappeared. That's different. This is a person's body. And if you ask me, I think that they should be prosecuted.
But could the post office face legal consequences for this? We sat down with Stephen McAllister for that answer. He's a former U.S. attorney for the District of Kansas and teaches law at the University of Kansas.
Had you ever heard of anything like this before?
No, I find it shocking. Just shocking.
What do you find most shocking about it?
Well, that the Postal Service can be sort of this indifferent and just almost cruel about it.
McAllister says there is nothing preventing the post office from accepting help from professionals like Green Ison to determine where these cremated remains belong. But it's up to their discretion. And while he says the post office is heavily protected from being sued due to sovereign immunity, there is a route these families could take to get the packages identified.
If you could turn it into a constitutional claim.
A constitutional claim is a civil claim where families could argue the post office is violating their constitutional rights by holding on to the cremated remains.
Do you think this could fall under a constitutional claim?
I think it could potentially, given that you're talking about, human remains.
Filing an injunction could get the courts to force the post office to take steps to find where these cremated remains belong, but it would not include any jail time or fines.
It wouldn't be about money, it's just about getting the government to do the right thing.
And the right thing, these families say, is all they want.
I'm not here for cash value. I'm here for accountability, and there needs to be a change.
There's no reason for them to not let at least somebody in there who's willing to do the work if they're not willing to.
We reached out to multiple members of Congress about this issue because Congress could also compel the Postal Service to make some effort to reunite those boxes with loved ones. But none agreed to go on camera about it. We did speak with one U.S. Senator Mike Braun for our first story on this. He said his team is working toward finding a solution.